Marc Marquez is back in the spotlight of the MotoGP world. The latest update on the Spanish rider has just been leaked, and it brings some surprising news. In the latest statement, Claudio Domenicali made a sharp comment that not only highlighted Marc, but also mentioned that Pecco Bagnaia was in danger. What really happened behind this surprising statement? Let's discuss it. The 2025 MotoGP season seems to be a moment of unexpected revival for Marc Marquez. After joining the Ducati factory team, many questioned whether this move would restore his best performance or be the beginning of an unsuccessful story. In a relatively short period of time, however, Marc Marquez has shown that he has come not just to try, but to dominate. In fact, he has managed to revive the aura of the Ducati legend that Casey Stoner once fought for. In several recent interviews, Ducati CEO Claudio Domenicali has expressed his admiration that he never expected Marc Marquez to be able to imitate and learn Casey Stoner's racing style so perfectly. Marc Marquez not only looked at Stoner's data, but he really understood the way Stoner opened the throttle in the corners, the way he lifted the bike. Everything was similar to Casey's riding style, said Domenicali with a mixture of awe and disbelief. Known for his aggressive and uncompromising riding style, Marc Marquez is beginning to show qualities very similar to those of Ducati legend Casey Stoner. The two have one thing in common: they will never settle for a bike that is just good enough. If the bike doesn't feel like it, they don't just give up. They force the bike to do what they want it to do. This process, although risky, often leads to extraordinary victories. I remember when Casey Stoner was in 250 cubic centimeters, he would crash, get up and crash again. He refused to accept that his bike was not good enough, and Marc Marquez did the same thing, recalls Domenicali. But what makes Marquez's presence even more extraordinary is his ability to combine Stoner's wild instincts with the tactical intelligence he has developed over the years. As well as being aggressive, Marquez now seems more mature, more patient and more able to choose the right moment to attack. At the Qatar race, he showed this maturity by winning all the sessions, from pole position to the sprint race to the main race, with a brilliant strategy. In the first 4 rounds of the season, Marquez has taken 3 wins in Thailand, Argentina, and Qatar. Marquez's only failure came in the city, when he crashed while leading with a fairly large gap. However, that incident only reinforced one conclusion: that the only thing that can stop Marc Marquez now is himself. It's not just about the victory, but the way he won. Marquez no longer relies solely on courage and aggressiveness. Now he relies on his intelligence to read race situations and control the rhythm of the race perfectly. I can't believe it, it's really similar to Stoner's style of racing, continued Domenicali in a tone of amazement. Marquez has become a figure that is very difficult to stop, but not because of his ferocity, but because of his intelligence and calmness in controlling the race. He knows exactly how to manage the tires, the rhythm, and when is the right time to attack. This was even more evident when he dominated in Qatar, even on a track that is not his favorite. In the past, Marc Marquez was known as an adrenaline-fueled racer, a figure who never hesitated to push the limits, always aggressive at every turn. His courage to push the bike to the limit made him one of the most feared and watched riders in the world. Over time, however, Marquez has evolved into a much more dangerous figure, no longer because of his deadly aggressive style, but because of his intelligence in strategizing and reading track conditions. Now he is not just a fast racer, but a racing maestro who has mastered the art of the game on a motorcycle. Ducati boss Gigi Dall'Igna, who has been involved in racing for a long time, could not hide his admiration for the extraordinary transformation that Marquez has undergone. He no longer relies on wild instincts like before, but now he uses his brain to win every lap with full calculation, said Dall'Igna with a tone full of respect. According to him, Marquez now prioritizes calm and careful planning, keeping his performance stable without having to engage in brutal physical battles like before. Marquez has not only extraordinary speed, but also the ability to regulate every aspect of the race in detail, from the right tire pressure, to the optimal balance of the bike, to the rhythm of the race that fits his planned strategy. This ability makes him increasingly difficult to beat, even in the midst of close competition. What is most striking is that, despite riding the same Ducati Desmacedessi GP25 as his teammate Pecco Bagnaia, Marquez's results are always more consistent and impressive. His success shows that Marquez is now not only a fast rider but also a great strategist, able to control the race in unexpected ways. Meanwhile, Ducati's Pecco Bagnaia seemed to be struggling to follow in Marc Marquez's footsteps. Although Bagnaia had won in Austin, the victory came in a rather controversial situation, due to the crash suffered by Marquez. In the following series, Bagnaia continued to struggle to show the same consistency as Marquez. The speed and toughness shown by Marquez clearly showed a striking difference between the two. According to Gigi Dall'Igna, there is a deep problem related to Bagnaia's approach to his bike. Pecco needs to be more mature and stop blaming the bike too often. A real world champion has to be able to deal with problems and not just complain all the time, said Dall'Igna in a rather loud tone. Dall'Igna believes that Bagnaia is too focused on the technical problems of the bike and is less able to adapt to the character of the existing bike. He felt that Bagnaia was not yet flexible enough to change his riding style to meet the challenges of the bike. Marquez, on the other hand, showed an extraordinary ability to adapt to all the changes in his bike, always trying to find the best solution to optimize performance. This is an important lesson for Bagnaia, who needs to focus more on ways to solve problems rather than constantly highlighting the difficulties that exist. For a world champion, the ability to manage problems and remain competitive is the key to long-term success. As the 2025 MotoGP season progresses, Marc Marquez is increasingly emerging as the main threat to the title. His composure on the bike, extraordinary ability to control the race, and very mature strategy make him increasingly difficult to beat. Not only is he the best rider on the grid, but he is also the most dangerous because he knows how to win races in a very elegant way, said Ducati test rider Michel Pirro, who also admitted that Marquez is now at a level that is very difficult for any rider to reach. The peak of Marquez's dominance was clearly seen in his extraordinary performance in Qatar, where he swept all the practice sessions and finally won the main race very convincingly. It was not just about speed, but about how he controlled every aspect of the race, from strategy to bike management to making the right decisions at every corner. All of this shows that Marc Marquez is not just back to try, but to create a new era in the world of MotoGP, an era full of excitement and challenges for his rivals. With Marquez now leading the standings and continuing to show exceptional ability at every race, the 2025 season looks increasingly promising. All eyes are now on Marquez, who seems to be chasing not just victory but history. If he continues to perform at this level, it is not impossible that 2025 will be the year that Marc Marquez reclaims the throne he once had, while reviving the Ducati legend that has been lost in recent years. A fame that seems to force his rivals to fight harder than ever if they want to beat the rider who is writing a new chapter in the history of MotoGP. Now the shadow of Marc Marquez's glory is increasingly real and almost unstoppable. Not only is he back as a rider, but as a major force changing the dynamics of the MotoGP World Championship. With a combination of racing intelligence, mature strategy, and his trademark courage, Marquez has proven that he is not only worthy of Ducati, but worthy of returning to the top of the motorcycle racing world. And if this performance continues, he will not only be making history, he will be creating a new era. The question now is, can Pecco Bagnaia and his other rivals stop Marc Marquez's extraordinary pace, or will they be forced to witness the birth of a new dominance that is even more terrifying than before? Write your opinion below.